Welcome to my review of set 40755. I'm FitLegoGuy, but you can call me Josh. This is set number 40755, released of October of this year, October 2024. Ages 8 and up, 383 pieces, and comes with 7 minifigures. Now I'll talk a little bit more on the minifigures at the end of this video, so you want to make sure you stay watching all the way to the end. This set, I definitely feel like is, and it's not just my feelings, it really is a remake of two sets from around 2009, 2010 was the originals of these sets, and I see where this has made a lot of improvements. There may be some areas that it did kind of a little bit, in my personal opinion. Now, the Imperial dropship has been remade before for the 20th anniversary as well in 2019. And I feel like that one is arguably smaller than this one, but better in many ways. But before we get into the minifigures, I promise that they're coming at the end. We want to talk about the builds first. Little change up here. I'm going to throw you on your feet. You get two great builds. And then we can start right with the dropship. I think, it's nothing spectacular per se, but I think it's a good design. It's an overall, I think it has a much bigger cockpit, but that does lead into a problem with placing the minifigure in. You can't be seated or snapped in with the cockpit closing, so the angle of it is just not quite the right shape for putting a minifigure inside, and so that's a design kind of flaw in my opinion. A little con. I think that a little something reworked it needs to happen there. You can fit two on the back, a little less than you could with the 2019 version, which I lost half of the 2019 version. It basically had a separate drop, truly being a drop ship. You could load it up with your Stormtroopers and then slide it into place, snap the engines over it, and you're good to go. This one doesn't have a removable, you can load two minifigures on the back. You also have clips for the weapons, which didn't happen in the 2019 version, but you didn't need it to. In this one, I don't think you need it. That clip is really good for the whatever Stormtrooper is going to pilot it, but then you've got some really nice, beautiful engines. It does have stud shooters on the side, to be expected. I think it's a great little ship that comes with this, and you do have just a couple stickers. Really nice control panel where you can see the pilot. And unfortunately, I think this is the worst of the two builds. And so we'll move on to the Rebel side, and you have a really nice redesign of their tank. Their tank hasn't gotten a redesign as much as the dropship has. The last one was 2009. So I do think that it is a great. It has gotten beefier and girthier. It is a nice improvement. I think the design, it's sleek enough with being bigger and better in many ways. You can fit all three minifigures in there. Having room for the fourth one so that they could include it 4 on both sides would have been really nice. I think 4 and 4, perfect, and then throw in that bonus KT in here. Call it a day, but we're gonna get a little bit more on to that. But like, you have the removable tower like you had in 2009. It does have the stud shooters on the side, and then a turret that can go up and down. You have hover studs on the bottom, or translucent studs, so it appears like it's hovering, and you just slide it across a table, rug, hardwood floor, whatever material. But you can play, playability there. You can play and battle it, and I think that is really great. But now we got to move on to the minifigures. You get 3 great Rebel troopers with all different expressions and heads. That I think that they are really well done. And I love that they're all kind of different. They're the same kind of trooper that we got earlier this year in the 10-4 boarding hallway. And this is a great set to beef that up if you so wanted. You got more Stormtroopers, you got more Rebels. You could use that for this purpose. You could also just use this as its own standalone set. I think that works as well. There's not so, the Rebels they don't have dual molded printing that maybe they should, but their faces being all unique and different is kind of fun, and they're still like soldiers. I think it just kind of works. It's supposed to be clones, so it just works. And the Stormtroopers, kind of the same thing happens. You don't really like them, honestly. Probably may or may not know my feelings on that, but The Stormtroopers, I think like their bodies, legs are great. I think great printing all around. I think even the dual mode helmets are great, but the design and shape of the helmet just make them look like Family Guy helmets. You have this really droopy face that just doesn't quite fit a Stormtrooper. So, but what's really great is underneath is you got 3 different heads. 2 of them, for me at least, was they're both female. I think that's the way the set was designed. Skin colors you got, so you can have various facial expressions. So it's a great way to kind of expressive Stormtrooper army, but they're all going to be in armor in your armies and battles, so it really, at the end of the day, doesn't really matter what's underneath. And our last minifigure is R2K's KTQT. She is named after the girl who had cancer back, 20 years ago. Unfortunately, she did pass away, and it's a very touching story. So I do recommend you go do your research on it. But QTKT is one of the droids. There's 2 droids named after her, and the main one is the R2KT. Unfortunately, LEGO didn't throw that in here. They did the version because they wanted to throw in there, but they also wanted to throw R2, and so they recolored her so that she wouldn't be confused with R2, because she deserved her own spotlight and not to take the spotlight from R2. So LEGO made that version. So it's the one with the yellow ring around the head, like all those things. And our QTKT really does have a lot of detail here, and I think she's really great. Now, I would have totally agreed with the people that say it should have been R2QT. I think that would be a better choice, because that's the one that's most tied to the Katie Johnson. But in this case, it's QTKT, and I think that's still a great choice. We're still honoring her legacy and what she brings to the Star Wars community, and so I think that is still a great choice. But now we're going to kind of get into pros and cons here. And here's my thing. Pros are like 2 really great remakes, with the Rebel ship obviously looking better, really on the Imperial dropship side. I think the cockpit is too sloped to get a minifigure in there really well, and I think it doesn't snap in real well. It's not this design. I think that there was it better. I think it's just too aggressively sloped. I do like the overall shape, but I think the aggressive slope on it would have taken a little bit of a poor design to be able to easily fit a minifigure. I think for the $40, I think each side needed 1 more minifigure, making it 4 Stormtroopers and 4 Rebel Troopers, which would be better than throwing R2KT as your bonus. Like, not a lot of cons, and I think there's a lot of pros. Like, great minifigure, 2 great remakes, really girthy, really, they do have improvements. Like, the minifigure designs are decent. I think the 25th anniversary QT is a great choice to throw in here. And that's kind of it. That's all I got for today. So go ahead, drop a like if you haven't already. And I got another video you might want to check out right over here.